signed with Southern Miss for a hot second and went on and played in the USFL. So shout out to Marcus Dupree and his grandson.
Hey, Mr. Campbell, the Bishop, we got a special guest, man. We got the owner and proprietor of the Off Script channel on with us today, man. Scotty, what'd you see?
What's going on, guys? So I was watching the game while I was attending the A&M game, which was amazing, by the way. The homecoming for A&M was absolutely amazing. I'm gonna say this. I'm out on Chris Barnett. There's nothing you can tell me. There's nothing you can sell me. There's no getting back after this, because this is, and I said it all week. I said, are you ready for a game like this? Are you able to call plays for a game like this? And my issue is this. Everything that you saw, nothing was schematically helping. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. We letting you cook. We letting you cook.
Somebody's background is bleeding through.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna mute myself.
My bad.
I think
so. Yeah. So my thing is this is my issue. TC called a hell of a game, but for people that know football and see football, a lot of that stuff is an easy setup for Jacobian. It's a great play. Like, he manipulates the defense in so many different ways. And the perfect example was that screenplay. He faked the running back flare and came back underneath with a tunnel screen, which got the defense. Half of the defense was going to the right, half the defense was trying to stop the screenplay. And again, those are plays you don't see get called for Andrew. It's a lot of make a play, go be hero, make a play, go be a hero. Now, I'm not telling you that Andrew didn't miss some throws and he didn't see some stuff. But what I'm saying is that it's not presented in a way to where, like the wheel route for Dupree for the touchdown. It's a conflict situation. If the corner goes with the wide receiver, he throws the wheel. If the corner sits, he throws the slant. It's not a hard read, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is TC Taylor draws it up for him, and it makes it easy for him. And I gotta agree with Mr. Campbell. That Nathan Rimbar throw was probably his best throw of the night. Like in triple coverage, in the middle, that was perfect. You can't ask for anything better. But at the end of the day, Alabama State had a chance to win the game. With all of that said, everything, you're on the 1 yard line with the chance to win the game and beat Jackson State, and you do a speed option to the short side of the field, I'm out. I'm good. There's nothing.
Rocky, hey, Scotty, wait a minute. Let me tell you something. Not only that, but to his weak hand. So he can't even square.
You can't even. It's to his left. Yeah, it's to his left side. It doesn't make. I would have been suffice with a half. I would have took a halfback dive. I wouldn't care. Like, hey, listen, my guys against your guys. Let's just go be great. QB power. I would have lived with that.
I thought for sure they were running power pass. I thought they were going to run power pass.
Bro, what I'm telling you, I got 8 text messages from different coaches in the SWAC that I know. And then I got some coaches from the OCs that I know. They're like, that's your best play? That's your best play? That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid. I'm talking about coaches, assistant coaches, head coaches, OCs, D2 coaches. Everybody who watched that game, every coach that texted me said, that's your best play? That's dumb. That is dumb. And Eddie Robinson got to live with that. So at the end of the day, great game. I knew it wasn't going to be no blowout. Alabama State had a chance to win the game. You put yourself in a position to win the game. You got to go win it. And when you want to beat the champ, you got to go beat the champ. And they didn't. And Jack State's defense did what they do all season, and they stopped people.
Scotty, you hit it right on the head, man. Right on the head. And, man, how did it feel to see Alabama State back? Were they kind of shook when Ballard was up for a hot second down there?
Oh, yeah, it was quiet. Ooh, it was quiet, boy. Oh, man, it was mouse pissing on cotton quiet around that jank. But they got it going. They rallied. Let me tell you something. I've been to a lot of places. A&M is up there. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like the vibe, they got some the DJ, the announcer, the hype man they got, AD Bryant, and I know people like, hey, Scotty, that's your guy. I know, but I'm telling y'all, A&M got a vibe. It was a whole vibe out there. Just the logistics of it and everything. I'm gonna break it all down when I get back to the crib. But man, you guys keep doing your thing. If you got any more questions or anything you want, I'll be on for a little bit. But y'all, I want to hear what y'all got to say.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, this is a thing. It's funny that you say everybody got text. Coaches text me, players text me. Why did they do that? The why? And I have one guy literally screenshot and say, this guy in the back, because you saw it. I really thought when they set up that stack, what they were going to do was run that second guy underneath on the slant. My guy was like, the guy was out of position. The guy would have been wide open. But again, to your point, is like play calling matters. And when you're sitting there and and to me, this is my problem when you go to the left on the short side of the field. Let's just say you reverse, which is kind of hard because of the way the colleges line up. But if you would just say you would have flipped the guys, the 3 stack, and then had the 1, right? At least you would have had a wider field to try to do what you were trying to do, right?
Yes.
Cut back, whatever.
Yes. You had space to cut back.
So even because Andrew he had to flick it. I almost thought he did it with his left hand for a second. When I looked, because he didn't even throw it right. So again, you didn't give yourself any room. The pick play is there. It is the hardest play to guard in college. You might get a penalty, and you run it and then you run it, because again, you can have that running back right there blocking for him, and then there's an option of running it or 3 guys to throw it to. And to me, you just have more options there.
Hey Scotty, didn't they run the pick play in that
in the Bethune game?
In the Bethune
in the Bethune game,
where Jalen Jones runs delays and then runs across.
Yeah, he came back. He went up.
That's how they were.
He went wide. Yeah, he went wide to the right. Remember, and then he motioned back underneath, and it was like a delayed slant. It was so clean, but you could have done anything but what he did.
That's the action they ran on the backside. Go back and look. That's the action they ran on the backside.
But again,
I don't get it, man.
But see, this goes back. But hold on. But you know what, though? Here's the thing. And I'll tell you, Eddie Robinson, and we can talk about that. But I'm gonna tell you what Eddie Robinson's most mad at. He let his defense let them drive down the field and score a touchdown.
They couldn't get a stop. They couldn't get off the field. They couldn't get a stop
because see, here's the thing. Eddie Robinson's a defensive guy, and you still Andrew Bonner, they had 45 seconds, 54 seconds left.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a Herculean effort. But the game was won or lost on the 4-minute drive. So you allowed Jackson State going that 4-minute drive.
And that third and 9, that screenplay that Nathan Rimbark broke off. That was killer.
Was all. Hey, Scotty, that's the play. I said here on the live stream, this is when you'll find out whether Jacobian is a game changer or a game manager. And guess what? TC Taylor bailed the game manager out with a great call.
If anything, what's crazy about Jackson State, and you gotta this is the part where I'm like, they're not special. What it is it is very simplistic, but it's very good. They're just they execute really well at a high level.
Scotty, they loaded though, Scotty. They loaded.
Dog, when you're at 2nd and 8 and can run the ball and get 6 yards and it always puts you at 3rd and 2, that is difficult for any defense to be in because they can just run the ball and pick up 2 yards because they're that physical up front. They're just that physical, right? And then when you get them in a long situation like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and you think you got it won because you're like, they don't pass the ball that well. And then he pulls out of the backpack a fake. But again, my point exactly, you don't see any of that creativity for Andrew. You don't see any of that. And that's my issue is that I'm not saying Jacoby Morgan is bad. I've always said he's average. But when you add a great play caller, it makes him look better than what he is. And he only got to make so many amount of throws that really matter. And that that whoever he threw it, Nathan or whatever,
Nathan
in that triple coverage, that was an absolute dot. It was a dot.
But here's the problem. Here's the issue I have with a lot of these people that want me to openly compare, and I'm not going to do it because I don't think it's fair to either player to compare Jacoby Morgan to Andrew Body. Jacoby Morgan is literally able to play a game and make one or two great plays a game and walk away with a victory against a very good team. If Andrew makes one or two great plays in the Alabama against Jackson State, they lose by 30.
They lose by 17. It's not even the same game. It's not the same game. It's not the same game. Everything came down to Andrew, which I told Mr. Campbell. We talked about. I said he's going to have he has to have a Herculean effort. That interception was bad. It was horrible. But again, he only had one option. If you go back and look at the play, everybody cut, everybody was down on the ground, so they made him throw the out route as an easy gift. But you got to know that Quincy's their buzzer, and I said that all week. I said Quincy Ivory is their buzzer. He's going to buzz underneath all that because they feel they're good enough to just rush 3 and blitz a linebacker.
Again, man, Jackson State defense is a handful, bro. They a handful. And what I'm surprised more than anything, Scotty, is that Andrew was able to unlock that defense eventually. He unlocked
Rocky, what have I said all year about their defense? What have I said all year? What do you have to do? I said it all year. I said
you gotta pass.
You gotta pass. You got to pass. I said it all. I said their secondary is ass. You gotta pass. So you see it.
So let me say this, Scotty. So what you saying is what they did in 50 seconds is what they should have been doing the whole game?
All game should have been. Listen, you don't run to pass against Jackson State. You pass to run because then they start dropping more guys, and then you can pick up your 5-6 yards here, 5 yards there, right? But you don't run to pass. That's the anomaly with them. You have to pass the ball to be successful. Do you remember the drive? But when they were down 11 and Andrew had to score.
Yeah.
He threw the whole drive. If Andrew does that the whole game, they have more points instead of trying to play this run. Ooh, we're going to run here. We're going to pass here. We're going to run more into here. I'm like, bro, let me tell you something. I'm so sorry. I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
How Chris Barnett ended the third quarter was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. You get the punt. I mean, you get that pick that Jacoby Morgan threw was a punt. Whatever. So you get the pick. You come out. You run up the middle on first down. You run up the middle on second down. I'm like, bro, you setting up Andrew to fail. Because they know you got
though. But
Andrew got busy, man.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that it bothers me because I'm like, what film are you watching to see that? Oh yeah, we're just gonna run the ball on. That's not how this game works. You have to pass, and again, there's not that many quarterbacks that you trust to make throws, play in and play out. That's how they dictate to you what you can do and what you can do, because what do offensive coordinators want to do? Get the ball out of their quarterback's hand because they don't trust their quarterbacks.
Now I don't know what happened in the first half. Coach Quinn had a great plan against Andrew. I'm talking about he had Andrew pinned down like an animal in a cage, bro. He had him pinned down. Andrew couldn't run. He could, you know what I mean? And they was wasting plays running the ball too, right? But in the second half, I saw him start running zone option to the short side of the field, zone read to the short side of the field, right? And Andrew was able to find some, I don't know what was happening. I had to go back and watch the game. But once he started running it to the boundary, they were able to find room with Andrew running.
If I'm being honest, most of Andrew's best runs were off of broken passes. Like, they just couldn't bring Andrew down, and he just stepping out of sacks. Like, he's literally stepping out of sacks.
Yeah, there was several of those.
Like, it was like 6, 7, 8 times where he just literally, Quincy Ivory was grabbing his man's arm. He dips out of it, slides out, and picks up 20, 30 yards. Like, that's what Andrew was dealing with all game in the second half. But again, go ahead.
No, I just want to. I was just wanted to show these people because I don't want to. I want to give Jacoby Morgan his flowers. He played a great game, and because they calling me a hater and all this kind of stuff. Look at the box score, and tell me what Andrew had to do versus what Jacobian had to do. I know Jacobian threw for 4 touchdowns. I know he did. I know he threw the ball 23 times. It had 16 completions, right? But if you watch that game and you're gonna tell me that one is equal to the other, it's
not the same. It's not the same. It's not. And let's be very Morgan had defense that Alabama had last year.
Wait, Scott, say that one more time.
I said Jacoby and Morgan had the defense that Andrew Body had last year.
Yeah. Well, that's right. But the thing about it is, guys, and this is why I've been saying about Jacoby, it doesn't have to be the same. That's the greatness about Jackson State's football team. He does not have to be Andrew Body for them to be successful. He has to be Jacoby and Morgan. And what he was prime Jacoby and Morgan. And to me, if you go into, and I bet you TC said, you know what? I'm going to say this again. TC Taylor is moving up so many levels just as you watch him grow. But I guarantee you, he probably said, I don't care what Andrew Body does. I need you to do what I need you to do. And that's what Jacoby Morgan did.
Because if you do what we do,
he never did anything out of ordinary. He wasn't trying to be Superman. He threw the ball where he needed to throw the ball. He ran the ball where he needed to run the ball. Because again, when you got teams like they have, and I'm saying you got all conference players, you throw the ball to your all conference players. That's what you do. This team to me, TC and Jacoby reminds me of Musa and Willie. Now Musa was the offensive player of the year, but everybody knows that Musa was not the best offensive player on that team.
Facts.
Okay, but we had so many playmakers. If you get it to your playmaker, and like I say, so to me, I'm going to take, if I've got a team like Jackson State, all I'm going to do is do exactly what I'm going to do. The guy threw 4 touchdowns. He kept the chain move, and guess what? When we needed 3rd and 7, and the guys were like, because I was like, man, 3rd and 7, I don't know if I really want to run the ball. You know what? TC Taylor said, my big quarterback can go get 7 yards.
You're muted, Rock. This Bama threw for 187 and 4 touchdowns. That's crazy.
But this is what I want to say, Scotty. I want everybody, and this is for the Jackson State fans. This is for the Jackson State people, right? You guys have an amazing defense. Y'all got an amazing roster, and shout out to y'all. But if you switch quarterbacks, do you think the game is 38-34?
Nope.
Let me okay. So for you folks, I'm going to say this again. And for the folks in the back, listen what I'm saying. When you got playmakers like Jackson State has, okay, you don't need, what I said was, you do not need you don't need Jacoby to go for 350 yards and 100 yards. That's exactly what I said, which was the exact same thing with a national championship team with Musa. That's what I said. Do not get it twisted, okay? I said Jackson State has great playmakers. That's what's great about Jacoby. He plays inside the offense. He does not need to go for 350 and 100 for Jackson State to win. That's 100% fact because he didn't do it. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, which was throw for 4 touchdowns and run for first downs.
Well, like I say, I think people want to come out of this game and they want to change the narrative about what happened today and make this a mandate on how great a player Jacoby Morgan is. And he played great today. He did exactly what his team needed him to do, right?
Great.
Yeah.
He played awesome. That's why I don't know why I'm not saying he didn't.
But I don't know why y'all trying to compare him to Andrew Body. That's the
he's
part
not
that
on
I
his
don't
level.
get.
He's not. And the game shows you he's not on his level. The game showed you he's not on his level. I gotta go against all conference defense an all-conference offense, and I got to keep my team in the game, not win the game. I got to keep them in the game. And even when I make the mistake, I got to still keep my team in the game. This team, there is no last second play to win the game. If Jacoby Morgan's on Alabama State gets smoked, gets absolutely smoked. It's very simple. Again, talent and team are two different things. Andrew's he's the most talented quarterback on the field, and you can see that, bar none.
And
he don't have the most talented team.
I think you and I came into this game saying the same thing. If you wanted to know who was the best team, I could have told you that on Monday.
Facts.
I could have told you that Scotty and me and Scotty and several other, even Coach Cole, we only gave Alabama State a chance because they had Andrew. That's it. We didn't say they again, but that speaks to what a great job TC Taylor is doing at Jackson State.
Building a team. Yep.
He's doing an amazing job. He built a team where they have depth damn near at every position. Every position. I don't know a position they don't have depth at. Then Coach Quinn comes up with great schemes to complement those players. You can say what you want to, Andrew throwing that interception, but hey, that was a great call in that moment. He almost looked in Barnett's playbook to make that call. Didn't he, Scotty? You had him when he was running the zone read in that situation, and he buzzed under. He was in the playbook. So, like I say, man, my thing is let's give Jackson State their props. They won this game, and let that be good enough. Let that be enough for y'all to don't make it about disparaging Andrew or diminishing Andrew or making Jacoby better than Andrew. That ain't what this conversation should be. What y'all should be celebrating is y'all have a great team and have a great HBCU team, and y'all should be celebrating. Y'all should be booking y'all trip to the Celebration Bowl right now, because I don't see nobody in the West getting nowhere close to beating y'all if y'all play like this.
No, nobody's gonna beat Jack State. No, nobody's gonna beat Jack State. And I said that. I mean, because like I say, that team, that quarterback, that coaches, that recruiting class has all been built up. And like I say again, this was it. Alabama State had their shot. And like I say, and they're gonna sit back and look at all the plays that they left on the ground, and then woulda, coulda, shoulda. But it doesn't matter. You had your shot, you lost. And then this is the thing about it when I tell people this, man. When you try to step up to that next level, and again, all the Alabama State people, they was chirping, and well, now we're just like this. No, man, listen, bro, y'all still ain't made it to the top yet. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to beat those teams. Yeah, you beat FAMU, but no, man, you beat FAMU this year doesn't mean anything. You got to beat Jackson State. Just like that year we had to beat Jackson State. You got to beat them. Because if you don't beat them, guess what? You're going to have a season. It's going to look nice and pretty. You win 9 games, and unfortunately, you won't even be able to go to the playoffs. You had your shot. And they're going to think about, and I'm going to say this again, with that play call, with those seconds on there where they should have clocked that ball, they should have clocked it, would have gave them more time to get in there. The second thing about Rocky, what did I tell you? I said that 4-minute drive, Jackson State's going to win this game. Because this is right up Jackson State's wheelhouse. They ain't got to rush. They ain't got to do nothing. They got every play in their playbook, and they literally ran every play in their playbook. That's exactly what I said.
You're right.
And so I said that, and I said they were going to win this game. So, and they played it. So, like I say, man, now, you know, you can move ahead. We're going to see what happens on the side in the MEAC when Central, and like I said, I think Delaware State might have something to say about that with Central and South Carolina State play. But for me, I want to see Central and Jackson State play again. I want to see that rematch because I want to see those two young brothers, and I want to see those guys get at it. But now Jackson State played. Jackson State couldn't play any better than they played that.
Hey, Campbell, we can't leave this live without you somehow addressing what happened in Tallahassee.
Oh man, easy. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, like I say, I'm gonna go back to that little kid song. The sun will come out tomorrow. Tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar. That'll be tomorrow. there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow. That's all we thinking about. Hey, man, I'm like Annie, man. We just thinking about tomorrow because this is you can't bottom out no more. 2 40-point blowouts back to back at home. The schedule was set up with all the teams that you had to beat coming to Tallahassee. You didn't hold serve. You got Alcorn coming in. I don't know what's going to happen with that game. You got Jack State coming down at the end. We play Alabama A&M. Bethune-Cookman looks like they're going to be a pretty good team. It's not good down there in Tallahassee. So, like I say, again, Coach Cozy knows what it is. The standard is the standard. It's not the standard. It's not the standard.
So let me ask you this here. With y'all having a tough time, while simultaneously a fan base that honestly, let's be honest, y'all don't like in Southern is also having a tough time. Does that kind of ease the pain that y'all going through, knowing that Southern is struggling as well?
No, man. Listen, let me tell you something, man. Champs don't care nothing about what they do. I don't care nothing about what Southern. So that's on Southern. I'm gonna tell you the only thing when you have won a championship, when you have a championship program, you're looking at the guy and saying, "What do we need to do to beat the champ?" That's it. So all I know is whoever the next coach is going to be, you better get fast guys that can catch and build back that offensive defensive line. If you look at everybody that's won the SWAC Celebration Bowl era on both sides, whoever's had the best offensive line and defensive line with a common quarterback has won that national championship. That goes for A&T, that goes for Grambling, that goes for Jack State, that goes for FAMU, and it goes for Central.
Yeah, man. Now that we even talked about Cozy, we done talked somewhat about, we know you don't give a damn about Southern and their woes.
No. You asked me a question about what shit.
No. I'm just talking about what them suffering. Does that make it easier on y'all to watch them suffer? But you say y'all don't worry about their problems. Y'all dealing with y'all.
No, because I give you way worse. Because here's the thing, Rocky. As bad as Southern playing, if we lose to Southern, what do we look like? Yeah. We've beat Southern 8 out of the last 10 times. We go down there and lose to Southern. You see, this is the thing about when you have championship aspirations. When streaks start getting broken, you got folks starting disrespect. Trey Albert came down there to disrespect us. You can't have that. So for Southern, as bad as Southern playing, if we go down there and lose to Southern 35-0, what does that look like? So no, when you look at those things, and then you, like I say, you got Jack State coming in there, close out your home season. What you think Jack State gonna try to do? They're gonna try to score 50. You think they're gonna try to score 50 down there in Tallahassee? They've been talking about it all year. The fans, they know what it is. And FAMU people know what it is.
Coach Graves over at Southern,
they're in trouble.
Is there any way he can recover from this?
No, because I don't think. But see, here's the crazy thing about it with Southern. They still got a shot. I don't think they're going to do it, but the schedule says they have a shot, right? But their play doesn't say they have a shot. I don't believe they're going to be Prairie View. I don't believe they're going to be Grambling. So Southern, like I said, I think Southern, FAMU are two schools. They're going to make this. Definitely, they're going to make a switch because it's not going to be acceptable. And they're going to be coaches. Those are two schools that people want to coach at. So we'll see what happens with the situations on both sides. FAMU, of course, AD Angela Suggs, again, she's basically finally dealt with her legal issues, so she should be coming back shortly. So she'll come back and make her decision on what that. Southern, we'll see what their AD does. But you can't sit back there for Southern and you lose to a Bethune. And that's what I'm saying. When you start losing the teams that you look at on the schedule, you say, I should beat them. That's a problem.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell. Because a game that's turned into a get right game, now all of a sudden there's a question mark by it. Alcorn is coming to FAMU next week.
Listen, and here's the thing. You can't, if you're FAMU, and as bad as Alcorn is played, The 3 teams that played the worst have been Alcorn, Southern, FAMU, right? Would you not agree? I'm talking about teams that had some type of aspiration. I'm not talking about the Ballots and the UAPBs, right? As bad as Alcorn has played, we're even regressing over the last 2 weeks. So he brought Jet Petty in. That didn't do anything. He still gave up 40 points. So clearly the defense has nothing to give. That game is going to be a toss-up. T said with a long run against Texas Southern, 7-6 Texas Southern. So, that's one of those things. So, again, you literally potentially could lose every home game other than the Albany State game. Think about that for a second.
Now, Coach Graves, he has to win the West to snap back from where he is now for him to save his situation. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is all Southern's playing bad football. They don't look good. They don't look good in any phase of the game. So if
let me ask you this then. Does looking at PV's schedule now, right? Because I want to take you around because you'll understand what I'm about
Southern
to say.
with a big turnover against Grambling, just real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, we always knew that Southern game was going to be competitive for PV. We assume the Alabama State game is going to be competitive for Alabama, A&M, UAPB, and finish up with Mississippi Valley. Considering all those teams are going to be dogfights for PV. Don't you think? You don't see one team where PV can show up and just expect a victory, do you?
Well, here's the thing.
Maybe the UAPB game
has how many SWAC losses right now? 2, right? Southern should have what, 2? They lost to Jackson State. They just lost to Bethune.
Yes.
So let's say Southern beats Prairie View, right? So that's 1. That would give them a head-to-head. They need Prairie View to lose again. And that means they got to run out the table. And Prairie View, so they will have to beat Prairie View and hope Prairie View loses another game for Southern to have a shot. So basically, Southern got to run the table.
Let's be fair. If somehow they muster up the wherewithal to beat PV, they certainly have the wherewithal to beat FAMU, UAPB, Alcorn, Texas Southern, and Grambling.
Oh, absolutely.
And I didn't even think about that until you said it. But they would have been done with the big dogs, with Jackson State. And so, and if they're able to navigate the PV game and get a victory, they're live again.
They're live again. Then they would need Prairie View, and that's the thing about it. Prairie View has to play Alabama State.
Yes.
So again, Prairie View still has 2 games that they've got to win. They got to go 1-1.
Yeah,
that's what I said. No, Adrian, I just said that you guys have to win to win the West. You have to win. I just literally said that.
But my question,
but you can't. But if you look, the thing what I said was no. If and this is the thing, you guys have 2 SWAC losses. If you guys beat Prairie View and Prairie View doesn't lose another game, they've only had 1 loss in the SWAC. They win the West. So you need Prairie View to lose another game.
And those teams in the West that play Bethune-Cookman that we thought were just walkthrough games, those games aren't walkthrough games anymore, is it, Coach?
No. You got to give Bethune-Cookman credit. That offense is clicking. And they're scoring points. Defense can't do anything.
Yeah. But you saw today.
It doesn't matter if it's a half game. It's still a loss. So it still counts. So I'm saying is they would have 1 loss. You guys have 1.5 losses. They would need to lose again for you guys to jump ahead of them. That's point blank period. That's how it works. Because if they only have 1 loss in the conference and you guys have 2, they win. Even if you beat them head to head, they've got to lose again.
So can we go ahead and schedule that December 4th SWAC championship game in Jackson, No,
right?
they don't have any losses in the conference.
No, I'm not talking about the SWAC. I'm talking about overall.
2, yes.
So I guess what they will give it to Jackson State because they got the best record.
So is it the best conference record or the best overall
Well,
record?
if they both go undefeated in the conference, then it's got to go with rankings or something like that, and Jackson State would be higher ranked.
But yeah, before we get out of here, man, I just wanted to give TC Taylor his flowers, man. He did an amazing job today, man, coaching. He has a very talented team. There's nothing negative I could say about what TC did today. What he did today was phenomenal. His team was prepared. They put up a great effort against Alabama State. And though I'm going to be honest with you, I wanted Andrew to win the game. No doubt about it. I wanted Andrew to win the game. But I think the best team won today. And I'll just leave it at that. And that team was Jackson State. So congratulations to Jackson State on their victory.
Well, I'm going to say this. First of all, thank for everybody that joined the live early. We had a lot of fun. I'm happy for the SWAC. This is a national televised game. For people that maybe have never seen a SWAC football game, they saw a great football game. They saw 2 great teams. They saw 2 well-coached teams. And me just love SWAC football, love HBCU football. That's all I'm happy about. A great presentation. Jackson State showed who they were. I'm not shocked. I said Jackson State was going to win this game. I said Jackson State was going to win the conference. Nothing's changed on that. I think what Jackson State has also done, and again, I'm going to keep saying this about TC Taylor, you just see him moving to that next level where this thing's starting to become easy for him coaching. And I like that about that guy. I like that. I want coaches. We need great coaching in the SWAC. So, man, happy for them. Like I say, Jackson State had their game. They did what they had to do. I don't see them tripping up. But, again, you got to keep playing football. That's the bottom line. You got to keep playing football. But the question I want to see, I want to see what Alabama State does now. Because now pretty much it's like FAMU. And I remember we would lose those games early. It took a Herculean effort for Willie to keep those teams on track to still win 9 games, to still keep where, hey, we're still in that big dog status. So Alabama State, I'm challenging you. Are you going to be able to keep your team on track, win the rest of the games, play Jackson State hard, which you did a lot? Because Andrew comes back. Well, hopefully, we
hope so.
He comes back. That young defense gets back. Jacoby Morgan moves on. There's an opportunity there. Things change. So we'll see. But, shout out. And like I said, and I'm going to say this real quick to the people. Shout out to all the people that come on here and be mad respectful. Everybody else do different stuff on these channels and stuff like that, man. I don't care nothing about that. Me, I'm going to be respectful to everybody, their teams, the people. So shout out for the people that come over here and just be a little bit more chill and just enjoy the broadcast and stuff like that. I got a lot of respect for all of you all. I know a lot of y'all. And even the ones that don't like me and the ones I don't like, I still got respect for you. You know who you are. But we still cool because you came over here not tripping. So it's all good. It's all good.
And Campbell, let me ask you this here for a second. Do you think now is it time? I remember when you were talking about when Deion had taken over Jackson State, and you said, and people wanted Deion to go take on the North Dakota states, the South Dakota states, the South Dakotas, the North Dakotas, and you said, hey, now is not the time to do it. Let's get tooled up. Let's build a program, and when the time is right, let's go take on those programs and have those non-conference games. Is TC at a point where is his program at a point where he can take on those teams now? And I ain't not saying necessarily win, but be competitive.
Let me tell you what I like, what I see. And this is somebody and the boys he played on. I'm starting to see Jackson State get NFL quality guys. You can see guys just bubbling where you see, you know what I mean? You can say, this guy might have some NFL talent. So my thing is, again, keep the main thing. Do I want my best HBCUs? Because, again, I think people forget, and they screwed Jackson State FAMU. They should have played for the championship. They put them on the same side of the bracket. We were beating those teams. FAMU have beaten those teams in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So there is some pride for that. So, yeah, I like to see Jackson State schedule some people, but I'm going to say this about Jackson State. Jackson State make money with home games. So why am I going to go schedule somebody when it really doesn't make me money? So, again, that's their business. They schedule what they want to, but I always want us to be in a position. I tell you what, if somebody come call, I want us to be in a position to be able to beat them. That's my thing. I want our teams to always be in a position to beat them. I don't want us to say we're scared to play anybody. And I don't think Jackson State's scared to play anybody. I think FAMU's scared to play anybody, and that's what I really want. So, man, So that's my thing, Rocky. So I think the biggest thing what Jack State is doing, they're building a championship program. And then when they see an opportunity to play one of those one-off games, then maybe they will.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would, like I say, maybe Southeast, someone mentioned Southeast Louisiana. Maybe I don't know all the FCS schools in the SEC type footprint.
Yeah.
That would be good matchups for them. But I'm just saying, I remember you saying that years ago, and I'm just saying.
But I will say that, but that was with the caveat because I knew the talent that Deion was going to bring in, right? Because what I had hoped, which again, it didn't happen. Again, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I wanted to see Shador and that crew be seniors. You see what I'm saying? With all of those guys. And I know the type of talent they would have had over a 4-year recruiting class, right? That Deion would have brought in. It would have been Colorado, basically, which would have been enough to beat people. So, that's it.
Would a Jackson State team turn out? How would the stands look in Jackson for Southeastern Louisiana, for a McNeese, for a Nicholls?
It'll be light. I mean, it would be light. And I mean, listen, but I talked to somebody about this. Bro, if you go to their games, it's light. It's not like a Southeast Louisiana selling out their games. McNeese State is not selling out their games. So, again, it's for fans, would they want to see that game? It's no different than Alabama. SEC people want to see SEC games. That's why they add another game. They're not adding less games. They're adding more games because SEC people want to see SEC people play. So, for me, I'm never mad. And I'm going to say this because I think it's very important. I had to explain to somebody. Somebody called me, I don't know why Jackson State and Southern and Grambling are playing all the conference game, playing game. Okay, let me explain to you youngsters. Before the SWAC expansion, Grambling, Jackson State, and Southern played each other every year. These guys, that Grambling, Jackson State game means something. That Southern Jackson State game means something. So it's just like telling Alabama not to play Tennessee on the third Saturday of October. They're never not going to do that. I don't think a lot of people understand. The third Saturday of October, Alabama always plays Tennessee. So there's certain games in the history of your program you're going to want to play. Grambling and Southern, Jackson State should always play them because it's Grambling and Southern. That makes sense to me. So I don't have a problem with that. Now, Alabama State playing Southern out of conference, that didn't make any sense to me. That's not something traditional. You know what I mean? But when you see Jackson State play Grambling, Jackson State play Southern, hey, man, that's old SWAC. Those are championship teams that have DNA that built those programs and things like that. So absolutely.
And on that same note, just to throw it in there, it probably would be a better product if they could get probably a MEAC challenger to come to the SWAC and so a SWAC team go up to the MEAC for a non-conference game, probably more so than one of those North Dakota State games. You know what I mean? It'd probably be more interest to the fan bases anyway. Yeah. Because a lot of this, from what I understand, it's about football, but let's be honest, the history, the pageantry, and the culture is right up there with the football. Like it is. It is. And so that's
Rock, I want to talk about one other thing too, which I think especially for most SWAC heads, there's a lot of movement with the OVC of teams leaving. And the question is, what is Tennessee State going to do? I'm going to say this to Tennessee State. You need to come home to the SWAC. You've been playing around because they could bring Tennessee State to the SWAC. They could go to non-divisions, right? Because then if it's no division, you don't need evens or odds. It doesn't matter. Tennessee State, you need it because you're talking about natural rivalries with Jackson State and FAMU. It goes back to my point. Tennessee State should play Jackson State and FAMU every year. They're not. That's not what their program is. Now, for the MEAC, if the MEAC could get it, it would be awesome. It would be awesome for them. But if I'm Tennessee State, if I'm McClellan, you're talking about Nashville, a great TV market. The Jackson State people will love it. The FAMU people will love it. I think, again, those traditional powers, again, playing each other, those name powers, I think it would help Tennessee State's recruiting because I think they would be more in the mix. And I think their people, their fans would come back and get more money because that's what they want to see. So I want to see what's going to happen.
McClellan almost here's my thing. And this is just from a business standpoint. You remember, I forget the guy who was the commissioner of the SEC. What's his name?
Yeah.
I can't think his name. He made an attempt to completely crush the ACC.
Yeah.
By extending the invitation to Clemson and Florida State. And I think McClellan is in the same position that he could offer invitations to, say, Tennessee and South Carolina and potentially do the same to the MEAC. But would that be advantageous to the coach?
He doesn't, no, it doesn't, because for his business model, he doesn't want that to happen. His business model is based off the Celebration Bowl also.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. No, McClellan doesn't want the MEAC because first of all, he could have done that. The SWAC would be too big. I don't think it's going to work financially and things like that. We need another. Well, let me tell you, I give you for example. The SEC don't want the Big Ten to go anywhere, and the Big Ten don't want the SEC to go anywhere. Now, the other conferences, if we can get all the slots, but they need each other, right? The SEC and the Big Ten need each other. It's the same thing. We need the MEAC. We need the MEAC to be strong. I hate for, again, the A&Ts and the Hamptons to have left and things like that. Because FAMU, I'll say this again, FAMU should have never been in the MEAC. FAMU's not a MEAC school, never was, never should have been. We're right where we're supposed to be. But if those other schools, if they can figure out, so to this point, for balance, if you bring a Tennessee State in, pick up another school, I think that's great for the MEAC. That's just me looking at it. But like I say,
what I'm saying is if McClellan extends the invitation to Tennessee State, to me, that effectively puts a dent in the growth of the MEAC. That puts a...
No, I agree. If he does that. And maybe, again, when we don't know that, maybe that's why he doesn't do it. Maybe he says, maybe does a backdoor deal to me. I'm not going to offer. So you guys can offer him so they can come there. I'm not going to give, because he did try to get him to come to the SWAC, and they turned him down again.
Really?
Because really, what people don't know, it was supposed to be Tennessee State and FAMU, and they're going to leave Bethune-Cookman in the cold. Tennessee State turned it down. Wow. FAMU was already coming. And so they said, we'll bring Bethune. So FAMU said, well, we don't want to leave Bethune in the MEAC.
Y'all did that for y'all brother on the
Yeah, we looked out. We looked out, but the original one was FAMU and Tennessee State.
Because y'all still needed that. Y'all wanted that Florida Classic to mean so.
No, I'm going to be honest with you. No, it's just kind of like, well, UCLA. The Big Ten really didn't want UCLA. The SC was like, no, they got to come with us. Okay?
Our fan base wants that game.
Yeah, they want that game. So that's what it is. So
nobody has to leave town. Everybody can stay in town and play that game. You know what I mean? It's usually played around the holidays, you know what I mean, for those two teams, Because
let me give you a thing. That's why you'll never hear anybody in the state of Mississippi ever diss Valley talking about Valley needs to lead the SWAC. Alcorn Jack State is never going to diss Valley like that, ever. You will never hear a true Jack State fan or true Alcorn fan ever say that Valley needs to lead the SWAC. Now, Valley, because of what it is, should they drop down? I'm not going to argue that, but I'm talking about when you talk about people that are tied to the hip, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Because you got to look out for your home folks, 100%.
For sure. Hey, Cam, I'm gonna get off here. You can hang on if you want to, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk for a few more minutes, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna let people chime in and stuff like that because got a couple of people join in. Rocky, we appreciate you. I'm gonna hang on for a little bit. Because the only reason why I want to hang in because I do want to have this conversation.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. So, guys, you know what? So I'm just going to go for a few more minutes and things like that, just to talk about. Because, some of the things, the games are over, and some of the things that I know that we like to talk about. So, here's Gramblin's down 14-6 and things like that. So this is the thing that what do you guys think the SWAC needs to do? That's a great question. Do you think they need to offer Tennessee State to come to the SWAC? I know some of my old head. What do you guys think? Should they just let Tennessee State be out there on the island so they come to the SWAC? I'm just curious about what do you guys think about that? Let me know about that. Let me see. Where's the you guys want to come up real quick? I'll probably be on to the bottom of the hour. Just getting there. I know some people are still kind of checking in and stuff like that. So if you want to jump on real quick, feel free to jump on and everything. And yes, the announcement said they don't want to come. And Black Golden, he said, listen, I say let the MEAC offer first and then not come to SWAC. See, that's the thing about it. It's Tennessee State, and that's the whole thing. You see, this. They've been asked over and over and over again, and they've just said no for whatever the reason. So again, I think that, when you're looking at it, but I think this is the thing about it. I think for us that are fans of HBCU football, we want a strong MEAC. We want a strong SWAC. So we're like, let them go to the MEAC because the MEAC needs to be strong. So I agree with that. I think that's my thing. I would rather for them to go to the MEAC than sit back and come to the SWAC. Because again, I think then the SWAC is so stacked. Because I think right now, when you're looking at the SWAC as a fan and you kind of look at it, you've got FAMU and Jackson, and I'm talking about just name-wise first, and then I'm talking about far as playing. You got two name schools on one side, you got Jack State and FAMU, and you got Southern Graham. But then you got the other schools like the Alabama State. Then you got the Prairie View. Then you got the Alcorns. Then you got the Alabama A&Ms. That's how you have the depth of the conference. That's the thing that I really, really like. So I want to see that. I think we've got enough of that. I think every week you can have a great game with the Blue Bloods and with the up-and-comers. So when you come on a SWAC game every week, you can see that. So that's the thing about it. With the MEAC, and this is the thing about it, they play all these schools and they got to do that. But to me, it hurts the MEAC because now the conference play starts so late. They're only playing 5 games in the conference. You don't have the great name game. So now you got one game basically that says, hey, we play this game, South Carolina State and Central, and that's it. When compared to the SWAC, you got, like I say, big game, Prairie View and Southern. That's a big game. People are going to watch that game. You just saw this Alabama State and Jack State. That's a big game. People are going to watch that game. You got multiple games that people are going to watch going through the season because you have all these different schools that are spread out. Tennessee State's out here with conference play. They on this with just like that. See, you hit it right there. It doesn't look. And my cousin is a professor at Tennessee State, and we just talked to the coach, friend of the show, coach at Tennessee State, and you just don't see the juice. And they're just so happy when they're playing at Howard for homecoming. They play Central, but when they play these other schools, it's just they don't. It's no juice. It's no juice. Yeah. And then he said, can't afford for each sport to travel further to the SWAC school. Well, that's the thing about it. It depends. Because, again, you can limit the travel because if you look at it, if you cut it in half and then, again, you can work pods because the first they would have to go is to Mississippi if they wanted to work it. And just say if they worked it with the divisions, they'd be in the East Division. You can move, I guess, Valley over maybe and keep them over there. But, again, I guess you want to keep Valley on one side and UAPB on the other side just to have it like that. But again, for Tennessee State, compared to where they're going to go, where they're going to go. Okay, let's see. I'm going to add both of you guys on there. Okay. Guys, you are on. Appreciate you guys going on. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. How you guys are feeling about the game? Talk to me. Little baby, you go first. What you got?
Are we gonna go 1-11?
And she's talking about FAMU, y'all. She's talking about FAMU. That's a deep breath all the way from the state of Florida. You hear that deep breath?
What is going on in Tallahassee? Like, do we not have a quarterback?
It bees that way sometimes.
You want to lean on this run game?
They play 4 quarterbacks a day, and none of them score but 1 touchdown.
None. You called yourself wanting to be, because pretty much you want to be a ground and pound team. You want to be a run first team.
Yep.
But your lead running back only got 9 carries.
Listen, I told everybody on HBCU Coaches Corner that Trey Oliver was going to try to score 50 on us. The score was 45-7, right? I told everybody that.
3 picks.
3 picks. The standard's not the standard. So here's the thing. The fact that you even said, are we going to go 1-11? If Coach Cody says that in the mirror real slow, what do you think happens the next day? You can't do that. You can't. It's not good for FAMU. It's not good for the SWAC. And when you've lost 2 and let 2 teams come in and put 40 points on you plus, no, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. So no, 1-11. Ugh.
It's staring us dead in the face. I'm looking at our stats and where we stand. Valley actually has more rushing yards than we do on the whole season.
Yep.
Valley can actually score. We haven't, yes, only 9. We haven't scored over 21 points except Albany State. And honestly, we honestly should have lost that game.
Can't count that game. Right. So on teams on our
we
level,
have a total of
we
9 touchdowns in 20 quarters.
Yeah. 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 And guess what? And again, and nobody's gonna feel sorry for us, and nobody should. That's it. You know, like I say, so we saw this in the Alex Wood era. But here's the thing I will tell you. You're gonna have a lot of coaches that want that job. A lot.
Oh, absolutely.
So the good thing about it is, I literally have coaches that text me that say, hey, who I need to talk to. They already, and I'm talking about some big name coaches at other teams. So, I don't think FAMU's going to be down. I think, the right coach, the situation is the situation, but no, it's the fact that you even said that potentially that we could be 1-10.
I'm looking at Southern, and they can actually win only because they're at home. They're going to get up for that game.
Yep.
Because, Jackson State's out of their purview for beating them. They have a strong potential in beating us. And then Alcorn, I'm looking at the numbers. Statistically, they've put up more touchdowns. Offensively, they've done better. Defensively, they've done better. Valley, offensively, is better. UAPB, who we also play, offensively is better.
I tell you, you're gonna know a lot on your 1-10 prediction next week. Because I will say that here's the thing: we were supposed to lose to Central. We were supposed to lose to Alabama State.
Yeah,
we weren't supposed to lose. In my opinion, we still weren't supposed to lose to Howard. So the 2 games we've lost, and then I'm not shocked how we lost. You're gonna find out if this team has any heart next week. You'll know next week when you go. Are you going to homecoming?
I am. It's been 20 years since I stepped foot on the hill as a freshman, so I am going to go.
Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. So y'all have one of y'all freshman reunions?
They're doing something with the class of 2005. I don't know if I'm gonna participate with any of it. Yes, I am. I'm going.
Well, support your freshman class, because I know all our family freshman class is raising money. So go on hang out with your freshman class, buy a T-shirt, and get them folks some money. You'll be in good shape.
I'm gonna do it. I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. You make sure you check back in with me on that Tuesday on Coaches Corner, and we will know if your prediction is right or wrong. How about that?
I can absolutely do that.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. Bedrock 601. I mean, you from Mississippi. I know what you about to talk about. Talk to me.
Oh, Coach Campbell. Oh, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, Willie.
I told you,
Willie.
I told you Kentucky Fried Chicken #4 in the nation. Look here. Now, seriously, pretty much everything you've been saying over the last year is a mouthpiece for me. And you say it more eloquently. I think I would love to have Tennessee State in the SWAC. I've asked them a bunch of times, but I would love to see them over in the MEAC and they get a couple more teams where they can balance out that conference, because I want both conferences to be strong. And man, you point out everything I want to try to point out, just like the SEC need the Big Ten. I mean, they need those 2 conferences to be as strong as they possibly can be. And and we need the MEAC the same way. I've been following the MEAC all the way back to the 70s, like 70s, and so, and I don't know. I know it's a lot of people that's new to this, and they really don't know, and you be giving a lot of history, and they just, and you and Coach Cole, y'all give a lot of history, and the people really don't be. I guess they think you just be jabbering, but they be giving y'all all the history that you can that you need to have. The SWAC and the MEAC, the SWAC, we talking about the SWAC. The SWAC is no joke. There's no joke. There's some good players that came through this conference. And that's a lot of people to be, that follow it's a lot of people that follow Scotty and Rocky that's new to this because they came in this atmosphere during the time of Dion. The SWAC is a FCS conference.
Yeah.
When they talk about Jackson State holding the attendance record in the FCS, they talking about all those other white schools too.
Yeah.
They really at one time we held that we had more fans than Mississippi State and Ole Miss. But they used to all play in the stadium, people. You know, we when the economy is booming, when things is going pretty good, we're at a time of uncertainty now. You know what's going on in the world.
Right.
But when things is booming, people don't have anything to do, man. And it's the time of the game, back Coach, the game, 5 o'clock our game. So, and it was a lot of people at the games. And I knew that effect, especially when Prime came here and talking about he wanted to be playing in whatever effed up reason he had. But that's a lot what hurt attendance. Because you got to understand, you got people that work on Saturdays, making that extra money. And after 6 o'clock, man, they ready to go and do their thing. The people that's gonna tailgate, they're gonna tailgate all day. But game time, that's the thing they want to do at the nighttime, man. That's something to do. That's Saturday night. And for them to not have sense enough to take that away. And another thing, Brother Campbell, this is what I wanted to say about. I know you can understand. Maybe you can put it in a more eloquent way because I've been saying this for the last 10 years. When you look at the vet, the lower part is what they call, in every stadium, there are prime seats. In every stadium, the angle that you see from 41 to 41 is the most prime seats in any stadium in the world. All right. My suggestion was them to put backs and armrests. They could put $80 side. I think it's be $40, $40 for general admission, and then you reserve the end zone for your student sections or whatever. But I've been saying this for years, and it's like those two things affect. Hell, if you sell the tickets for $20 a ticket with a 60,000 seat stadium, you're gonna come out on top. There's no way you should go up in price. And then we had Brother Cameron. We have a attorney around here back when Dion was around. I thought he was a pretty good fellow, but I heard him say on a morning program, well, you need to get a smaller stadium where you can charge a bigger price. People don't be like that. Don't have that type of mindset. You want that environment to be for everyone. The elementary children, the junior high children, the high school children, you want that to be a good environment. And like I say, in every, pardon me, in every stadium, there are prime seats. People that want to pay more, they're going to sit, and they want to sit in those prime seats. They're going to pay that money to sit in those prime seats. But you shouldn't penalize other people that want to see the game, and we shouldn't get into that selfishness way of thinking. And I just want to thank you for giving me this platform to to express my opinion, brother.
No, brother man, listen, man. I'm gonna tell you this. I appreciate you, Willie. We appreciate you, man. We know you love Jackson State. We know you love our hometown and stuff like that, man. And man, listen, man. We don't have to agree with each other. All we gotta do is be respectful, man. Come on here, have a good time, man. This was all about, man. Sometimes, I see some of the stuff that we say about each other, man, and I'm just so disappointed. So, man, hey, man, appreciate you. And you say your piece, man. It's all good, man. So, like I say, I agree with you. I think for me, growing up, one of the biggest things about going to Jackson State game was for the kids to be able to go. I think that's important. And I think it's important for two reasons. A, I think it's a positive environment when you see all these people that are college educated and supporting the college. I think it's good for kids to see that. I don't think they need to be sitting at home playing video games all day. I think they need to come out, see the Sonic Boom in the South, see the J-sets, see the fraternities, see all that. Because you know what? You say, hey, I want to be a part of that. But if you outprice those kids and all they're doing is playing video games,
that's what happens.
So what are you going to do? Then you want them to come to Jackson State and they haven't grown up like I did. No matter where I was going to go to HBCU, my kids saw the same thing. A lot of us, what I'm saying, that was just part of the thing. If you didn't go to Jackson State, you more likely than not went to a school that played against Jackson State. So, so that's one of the things that when you see that, let me see, got my man L. Dot, talk to me. L. Dot.
How you doing, Mr. Campbell?
Man, listen, brother, I appreciate you.
Can you hear me?
Always around when we come on, man. I know you that big Jack State fan. First of all, before you get started, tell me what you thought about the game. L-Dot.
I thought the game was I really thought the game was very competitive. I really enjoyed that game. I was happy the way things kind of turned out. And but what I wanted to ask this question though. What goes into ESPN getting the games and not HBCU Go?
Okay. So remember, we have a primary partner and a secondary partner. ESPN, unfortunately, is our primary partner. So when the schedule comes out, ESPN is able to choose a certain amount of games, not every game, but a certain amount, right? And they pull out the bucket. Then what happens is HBCU Go goes into the bucket and say, we want these games. And then the games that you see left over are the games that you see now on SWAC TV. And shout out for the SWAC TV, because now we're getting able to see all those games. Because usually what would happen is ESPN Plus will say, oh, okay, nobody picked them up. We'll just throw them on just so we can get views and run ads, right? So the SWAC cut that out. So what you have is a primary that really doesn't give a damn, right, about the HBC product, right? And just as an afterthought, because case in point, you saw that happen with the Bowling Green and the Toledo game. That I guarantee you,
right,
per percentage that Jackson State, Alabama State game is going to outpoint in ratings than that Toledo Bowling Green game, right? I guarantee you, because they knew it. That's why they moved to ESPNU. They knew it, right? So then you have the situation. So one of the things that I have just been hoping, I know that primary contract is supposed to be coming up. I've always thought the opportunity to work with an Amazon, because now you got Amazon, NBC, Netflix, somebody like that that's going to put the time and effort to really put these games on. Like I said, man, this is a big game. And for you to come up there and miss the first 5 minutes of that game, that was just unacceptable. That was unacceptable. You know, so that's really how it is. So unfortunately, ESPN gets to pick and choose because they are the primary partner for us to show our games. So that's the thing. So, you know.
All right. I appreciate the explanation, Mr. Campbell. I always enjoy you guys' show. Thank y'all so much for everything y'all do.
No, man, I appreciate you watching, man. I appreciate you being a supporter. Now, let me ask you a question. Okay. Oh, you gone. Because I wanted to ask him now, what does he think Jack State needs to do to move forward? So what do you guys, like I said, you saw a great game. NBC does, yep, you got it. So, you know, NBC does it by your class. Yeah, they do. So because they've always had that game. That's that one-off game that, again, they're allowed to have. Because that's one of those grandfathers in contracts. That's what you have right there. But to L.Dot's point, when you watch a game on HBCU Go, it's just so much better. It's just so much better than when it's on ESPN. Other than when you got Jay and Tiffany, because my biggest frustration, and you got to tell me if I'm wrong, I don't like games that are called by people that have no clue about the games that they're called. And they're just kind of there. And they don't know the history. They don't know the players. They don't know the coaches. And they're just calling the games. That's my big problem. Yeah, I don't like. So that just bothers me. When you got HBCU Go, when Charlie Neal and those young brothers calling those games, those guys have done their research. They understand totally what the game is about. This, you know what? Let me tell you something. And guys, agree with me if I'm wrong. You watch the game. You know what also made this game great? That Tiffany and Jay understood the magnitude of this game. Think about that for a second. How many games have we watched and the announcers are part of the game? When you've seen John Madden and people like that, or Dick Vitale calling those big games, you knew it was a big game because those guys were there. That's just the thing. You know, Jay, but you know what, though? But that's great, though. He hates JSU too much, but he knows about JSU. I'd rather have Jay than that black guy that, you know, that does a lot of Jack State game, that black guy and that white guy. And they're like, hey, how you doing? You know, and we got a game here. And what do you think about Andrew Body? Yeah, I heard he's pretty good. No, I don't like that. Yeah, that's not my thing. I don't like that. I don't think that does anything for the game. You know, so that's what, you know, that's me personally. I don't think it does anything for the game. You know, so when you're looking at it, but guys, I tell you what. So now you're looking at Jack State. You had the game of the year. The East has always been, hey, go undefeated. You can't lose one. Now the question is, look to the West. Southern, big loss today against Bethune-Cookman. Prairie View on a bye. So look, you know what? Let's see. Look at the SWAC schedule for next week, because that's really what's curious about it, and see some of the games that we need to be talking about for next week. And if anybody else wants to come on and, you know, talk about Jackson State's great victory. So next week, guys, you got Grambling, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, of course, Alcorn, FAMU. And then the game of the week, which we might have to do a watch party for that, is Prairie View and Southern. And they got a TBA on that game, so I don't know what that means when they got time to be announced. So I don't know if ESPN is trying to grab a hold of that game and move it around. So that's one of those things. Exactly. The Gus Johnsons, you know, when Gus is calling the game, exactly. So that's one of those games that for all of us as HBCU or SWAC fans, you really want to watch that game. Because, again, I'm still going to not count. I'm going to give Southern their respect, again, because Southern has shown that they can rise from the dead in the West. Doesn't mean that they're going to be a SWAC champion, but they can win games in the West. So you're talking about, again, so looking at, so which is interesting. So that means Jackson State has an off week. That means Alabama State must have an off week. Let me see. Yeah, so you got a lot of big teams that got off weeks. Grambling looks like where Grambling plays. So again, FAMU, Alcorn, that's a game at 4 o'clock. People are just going to watch just to see what that's about. Again, that might be a coach getting fired. And then everybody's going to sit back and watch Southern and Prairie View. So when you're looking at that. Now, PB didn't play today. They didn't play. So they want to buy. So I guess my question is to you guys. So Coach said they'll be on SWAC TV. So question, you guys have seen Southern play. You've seen Prairie View play. Who do you think is going to win that game? Who do you guys, do you think that Southern will do that Southern magic that they do and end up winning that game? What do you guys think? Yeah, you know, Greenwood, one thing I'm about to listen, first and foremost, I love all my schools. I love all my schools. You know what I mean? Because the bottom line, I just don't understand when people get on shows all day long and all they want to do is rip another school. I don't come from that. We joke, but hey man, my best friends all go to different schools. We all in this together. And I want a great Jackson State. I want a great Southern. I want a great Grambling. Why do I want Southern to be bad? And why do I want to talk trash about Southern and call them names and say they're not this or say somebody got dirty water or somebody 237? I don't get none of that because first of all, it's not even funny most of the time. And it's just job like something going to happen to you. And then once you get mad when you start disrespecting. So now I don't move like that and everything. But, you know, that's the thing about it. You know, when you look at it, hey, coach, listen. You know, and I want guys that have played the game. I hear this lose the locker room. I want anybody that's played. Have you ever been on a team that you felt that the coaches lost the locker room? You know, call in or put it in the chat. Or if you think he's lost the locker room, why? Okay, so how about expound on that? He lost the locker room because they're losing. Do you not see the effort? What is it? Because I think if you look at Southern say, well, some of these games we were supposed to lose. I believe Southern felt in their heart and mind they were supposed to beat Bethune-Cookman. But they played the big boy. They played Jackson State and lost. They played Alabama State and lost. They played Bethune-Cookman and lost. So does Southern still say, we're still Southern? We still can beat Prairie View because Southern has an arrogance about them. They say, we're not going to let Prairie View. I'm just curious about that. And that one is a Southern guy. So Sam will say, we have to believe Prairie View about to come to Muff and embarrass after how Saul played that. See, now that's from a Southern guy. You know, that's from a Southern guy. And he said only in high school. And that's fine. I understand that. You know, that's what I'm thinking. When you got teams that traditionally they have beaten, like Southern, I'm pretty sure Southern's record at Prairie View is crazy good and everything like that. Prairie View usually doesn't win in Mumford. You look at FAMU. We have beaten North Carolina Central the last 2 times. We got a massive winning record against Central and everything like that. I think we're 5-5. You know, I'm pretty sure Josh will come, oh, well, we're 5-5 the last 10 games. Man, we've been playing y'all for 40 years and we've been whooping y'all behind. So I don't want to hear all that. So my point of it is, but guess what? Central was like, no, we about to come lay the wood on y'all. We about to bring that wood. And they did. Alabama State. I was at the Alabama State game. Let me tell you how it's important about winning. Those guys were so happy. They were like, the guy was a senior. He said, I've never beat FAMU. I beat FAMU. A whole group of those seniors, as they were walking off the field, I heard them say that. That means something. That means something. You know, so that's one of the things when you look at it, I think that's really important. And, you know, when you look at it, so I think that's a really big game. You know, when you say Southern has lost the locker room, lost the players, man, that really hurts. And we're going to find out, because I'm going to tell you one thing that you guys got to give credit to. Coach T. Jack, he's going to have them boys ready. He is going to have them boys ready. And I think Prairie View is going to come in there, and I think Prairie View is really going to try to come in to Southern. I think Edward Moore, I think they're going to really try to put up 25 to 30 points, 25-point victory, just to prove the point that they're real. Because this is one of those games they have to play well. Prairie View has to step up. This is a game just like this game for Prairie View is just like this game for Alabama State. You want to say you're the champ? And now respect the Prairie View. Now let's give Prairie View respect. They have won 2 out of the last 4 West championships along with Southern. So it's been them and Southern. So I'm not going to say that they're the old Prairie View, old 87, but I'm talking about for them to be consistent where they're trying to get to. This is a game that you got to win. So that's what I'm talking about. Not disrespecting who Prairie View is. I think Prairie View is going to have a great team. Their program is a stable program now where they're winning games. I think they've got a great coach. I think that's going to mean something. So this is what I'm talking about. But for this game, it's the same thing with Alabama State. Eddie Robinson knew the only way that Alabama State was going to get to the next level, they had to win this game. Because winning 9 games is not going to be enough. Because what does it mean? You're not going to the Celebration Bowl. You're sending it home. So people got Prairie View. So that's the thing about it. Yeah. I really agree. So it's a big statement game. That's a game I think we're all going to watch. Guys, I'm going to be on here for another 10 minutes. If you want to come up, talk about Jackson State's big victory, you know what I mean, and what you saw. Like I say, I want to talk a little bit about that coaching staff at Jackson State and respect for T.C. Taylor and Coach Quinn. One of the things, as you have, and like I said, somebody who watches every Jackson State game, and I think for Jackson State people, I think you guys will agree, this is probably, as far as competition-wise, this is probably the best game that you've all played. And what I mean by that is when plays needed to be made, big-time players made big-time plays. You saw Ivory. And what was crazy about that, literally they interviewed, Tiffany and Jay interviewed Coach TC, and you know what? And TC said, I need somebody to make a big play. I would like it for it to be the defense. How about the next series, Ivory makes the interception? To me, that's when you're in tune with your team. That's exactly what you want to see. That's what a big time play. Same thing I talked to Rocky on the live stream. I said, Jack State is in great shape. 4-minute offense. This is Jack State's bread and butter. They got everything wide open. And what do you see? You see people, oh, Jacoby can't do this. Jacoby can't do that. And what Jacoby did was do what he always does, is be the general and brought his team down there and made a great throw to a player who transferred in. They remember, and it goes back to my point. You give the ball to your playmakers. You give your ball to the playmakers. So, that's my thing. I really thought that was, well played. And again, shout out to Alabama State. They did not give up. You got it down there, 1 yard line, 1 second left. You had a chance to win the game. I just didn't like that play though. Yeah, I just didn't like that play. I thought again, when you got the triple set where you got the wide side of the field to Andrew by the strong side on the right side, I think you just roll him out to the right, and I think he has more room to work when then everybody's in scramble mode because now you're trying to keep an eye on Andrew and keep an eye on the receiver. And that's when you lose track of receiver because you try to see what Andrew does and then he zips it in. So I think they're going to kind of look at that play and kind of wish they had that play back. But again, give them credit for them to get down there. I think that was, again, me personally, I'm like Jay, I would have clocked that ball and say those 10 seconds because I kept telling people those 10 seconds is going to matter. Those 10 seconds is going to matter. And then what happened is they didn't have enough time. And then that's what you got. So, yeah. Oh, there. Okay. We got a couple of people. Okay. Let me pull you guys up. Al.
What's going on, Bishop?
What's going on, Al? We're going to start with you, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Hey, that game lived up to the hype, man. I just wish that last part of that game, man. I don't think about this, and you said it earlier in the stream. The best running game was Andrew Body. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You I don't know. I just that last play, man, and the managing of the time, it didn't set well with me. I just wish, I felt bad for E-Rob because I just think there was his chance to really submit himself as a great coach in the SWAC. I mean, he the longest tenure. Nothing against TC, man, but I just felt like, I don't know, man. Andrew, I just wish he would that play call, man. I'm with you. They should have did something on not on the short side of the field, but the long side of the field. I just felt that was just bad. But what you think? What's your prospects for the rest of the season?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I said that I picked Jackson State to win the conference. I picked them to win the East. I think I picked, and again, now I got to go back because it was so long ago. I think I had Prairie View first. I had Southern first, Prairie View second. It looked like it might play out there with that game next week. I am disappointed. I didn't think Southern was going to play as bad as they played. Again, with FAMU, there's no way I would have thought where we're having people on the line and thinking that we're going to go 1-10, which I don't believe we're going to go. But the fact of it is to look at that. And you look at, I tell you one thing. Here's a game that I think a lot of people are not talking about. But if they run the table, Bethune-Cookman can set up themselves. And I believe that game in Jackson State, people check me if I'm wrong. Is that game against Bethune in Jackson or is it in Daytona Beach? I'm curious about that. You know what? I think that game is in Jackson. But I'm just telling you, if Bethune runs the table, they only got one loss. They beat Jackson State. They win the conference. They win the East Division. Think about that for a second. Bethune-Cookman, which I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I'm saying they could set themselves up. And see, this is the thing about it. So I'm going to say to you, Jackson folks, if Bethune keeps winning, do not sleep on that game and pack that vet. Don't play around because I think they came up there one year, a couple of years ago, and they played you guys really hard. I think that was TC Taylor's first year. And you guys kind of slept on and then come to that vet. You guys need to put 35,000 people in that game because I'm telling you, that's one of those games. I think Jackson State will win it with no problem. But my point of it is, it's something that they will have to play for. You know what I mean? So It's not over with. Usually with the FAMU and Jackson State game, it was over with, right? You already know who won. But Bethune has shown that they have some offensive firepower and that they're at the back end of this season potentially can win that game or play.
Hey, before I get out, Bishop, man, I just want to commend y'all on the interview last week, man. We're just bringing back the old SWAC quarterbacks. You know, like I said, I wasn't always looking at SWAC, but I do remember watching the games on BET. I do remember about my fam talking about these different players. But the Eugene one, I was so, man, that guy was special back in the day, man. But before I get off, listen, I'm not, fam, I just think they just got to get the right coach. If they get the right coach, I just don't think what you call is the right coach. Nothing against them. I just don't think he was the one for the job.
Yeah.
Well, but hey, man, I love the game. Tell on Rocky and Scotty, man, and Coach Cole, man, I enjoy this, man. Y'all guys be blessed.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. D-Lo, talk to me.
What's going on, Mr. Campbell? Always good to hear from you, OG. How you feeling, man?
Man, listen, man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I grew up watching games like this, man. I was just excited, and the technology allows us to all be in the same living room to watch it, man. So, man, can you not love the way that game ended and the way it played out, man? That's what you want to see right there, man.
That was outstanding, man. I don't know if you have heard me on the call with Mike and Scotty and Zoe.
Yeah.
And man, my family is from Jackson, so I know Jackson people, and that was. And I moved to Jackson back in 2003, and I stayed there for 3 years till 2006. And I went to the games in the vet, and to me, watching them for the last 25, 30 years, that was the best game I've ever seen. Because one thing that you just said, and it's very true, even with Dion and TC's first two and a half years, they've never been pushed like this. Celebration Bowl, they kind of walked over, South Carolina State. They walked over Southern in the championship game last year, and then this year they haven't had anyone really push them. This was the classic finish. I thought it was going to be like FAMU last year, but Body kept making plays. You know what I mean? And it was a great game. But I want to hit on a few things that you talked about that I think is crucial. One is going back to Tennessee State. I'm with you. I would like for them to go to the MEAC because it helps make the MEAC stronger. It makes the Celebration Bowl a bigger and brighter contest at the end of the season, knowing that they're over there now and contending. But logistically, if I'm a Tennessee State fan or I live in Nashville, I would rather join the SWAC because I got a lot of family from Mississippi. A lot of them have moved to the Tennessee area, Nashville, Murfreesboro. They would come and support Tennessee State if they're playing JSU, FAMU, Alcorn, and those teams at home. They don't want to come see those OVC teams.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
No.
They want to come see other SWAC or other HBCU teams. So logistically, the SWAC makes sense, but the football person in me would like to see them go to the MEAC. Another thing that you guys go ahead, Mr. Campbell. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, and another thing I wanted to keep rocking. Okay, and another thing that you brought up, I wanted to touch on too, was the end of this season is going to be brutal because JSU is in the driver's seat, of course, and Alabama State is looking for help. And I think the only team on their schedule that has a chance to beat them, and you just said it, is Bethune-Cookman with the way Cam Ramson is playing. And getting ready for this JSU game and Alabama State game, I went back and watched that game, and Ransom is dangerous. That's how I knew Morgan would have success against this Alabama State defense, because Ransom gave them fits. You know what I mean? He gave them fits, and that kid is a flat-out player. And if his defense can help, their defense is not the greatest, but if they can keep up with Jackson State, that could be an interesting game. Like you said, they have to pack the vet and not overlook Bethune-Cookman. And lastly, I want to say, Alabama State fans, hold y'all head up, man. This was a great game. The only thing I hate is you guys won't be able to go and represent HBCU football in the FCS playoffs, because if you guys run the table like your schedule dictates you should, there's no way you wouldn't have made the playoffs with only losing to UAB and Jackson State. But with the Turkey Day Bowl, the weekend of FCS playoffs, it's unfortunate they won't be able to make the playoffs. But the mismanagement of the clock, you guys talked about that as well. Alabama State not only mismanaged the clock on that last drive, me and Scotty was texting during the game in the first half when he was at the A&M game, and I was letting him know they was mismanaging the clock at the end of the first half when they could have tied the game up. They could have tied the game up versus getting a field goal. Jay kept saying you guys are wasting a lot of time versus spiking the ball or calling a timeout and letting the clock run. So the offensive coordinator and those guys have to do a better job of helping Body, because Rocky and Scotty said it, man. Body had to have an out of this world game for them to even have a chance to win, and they was right there, man. Instant classic, great game, man.
You know, I wanted to pull this up, and I had it right up. That somebody said, so they said, which I totally forgot that that's true. That could be a three-way tie with one loss. And that, let me pull that back up, that BC got to beat Jack State by more than 17 points if Alabama State wins out. So that's the crazy thing about it, is that Alabama State now is the biggest, those Alabama State fans are the biggest fans down there, the school down at Daytona Beach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
They're going to need them, because they want Bethune-Cookman to win every game, because they can't have two losses. And look at Grambling about to run back. I don't know, is this a kick they just ran back? Grambling just scored. So, but one of the things that I think what you just hit on, I think we can't take it for granted, but I think the one thing that Jackson State can go to sleep at night, and which I think they showed, the defense can come up and make plays when it was necessary. And I think that's really what Jackson State has the advantage over everybody else. Their defense was able to come up and make plays, and big-time play, and their big-time players made plays, guys that you depend on, and that's what I always want to see, guys that you depend on to come make plays. So, yeah, D, of course, man, yeah, you always calling on D Breakdown, man. I really appreciate you watching, checking out, man. I know a lot of people, like I said, let me like I said, do a special edition of the Bishop with the Pulpit. You know what I'm saying?
This was needed. This was needed tonight, man, with Scotty not being available because he was at the homecoming. And I want to say this in closing, man. I love TC. He's a great coach. The play signal caller there is doing a good job. But one thing that I noticed in this game, and you can echo this as well if you noticed it, I felt like, and I text this to Scotty as well, Ahmad Miller is not getting enough touches. I know they have a good running back room, and those guys are all great backs, but when the game is on the line, he's the guy that I want running the ball. You know, Terrell fumbled the ball. Luckily, Jency Riley recovered it. But you notice that last drive when they was going to score to take the lead, Ahmad Miller had 3 big first down runs on that drive. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this has to be your guy. I know you love these other guys. They're great backs, but he's your Irv Mulligan. I just don't think he gets enough touches, because every time he touches the ball, he gets 7 to 8 yards every single time. But his limited touches doesn't give him the numbers that a lot of the other backs in the SWAC have. So I would love for them to feature him a little bit more, because he's a bell cow, man. He picked up a great, if you go back and also watch, he picked up a great block on that second touchdown pass to Dupree in the end zone. Like he does everything. He can catch the ball, he blocks, and he's a force running the ball. But great day for HBCU football, man. I'm just looking for a great finish for the rest of the season. And keep up the good work, Mr. Campbell. Much love and respect to you, Elder.
Hey, man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you signing
Yes,
on
sir.
and talking to us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, you know, that was interesting, you know, and D talked about that. So, you know, Travis Terrell, which got a lot of carries, 17 carries for 77 yards. Jacoby Morgan, 7 carries for 66 yards. Ahmad Miller, 6 carries for 60 yards. Davenport, 8 carries for 37 yards. But guess what, guys? All those carries add up 45 carries to 257 yards. And in the end, that is Jackson State football. That's really what you want to see. But, you know, the thing about it is, which I think with Coach T.C. Taylor, when he looks at it, all those guys are fresh. So he can bring those guys in to come and make those plays. That's why you see those guys getting those 4, 5, 6 yards after they're getting hit, because those guys are super fresh. So I think, again, I think that's what it is. So, one of the things before I got off, so somebody said JSU will have to lose twice. So are you saying, okay, so this is what I want to know. If everybody finishes with one loss, then it's got to come with one loss. And if it goes to point differential after that. So I think that's what somebody said, that Bethune will have to beat Jackson State by 17 or Alabama State. So what I'm curious about, I'm going to find out, because I'll be able to find out. I'll ask somebody in the SWAC office if there's a three-way tie, who determines who wins, because they're going to say if this, then that. So I'll be curious about that. I think Jackson State doesn't have anything to worry about. I think they'll be fine, but that would be interesting to sit back and see if there's a three-way tie, because, we talked about that last year. Of course, FAMU didn't do their part, and Alabama State didn't do it. Jackson State, once again, ran the table in these. Congrats. But I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see if that does a three-way tie. I don't think it's going to happen at all, because I don't think Jackson State is going to lose Bethune-Cookman and have to be one of those crazy Grambling games. But no, I don't believe that's going to happen. Not at all. Not at all. Just looking at it. Yeah. So yeah, Vernon, you're right. So the only way, correct. That's what I thought for. I thought the only way that Jackson State would have to, Alabama State have to lose twice. I thought, from what I was told, and I could be wrong. And again, we'll find out, because it's easy to find out, is that if Bethune wins that game, there's a three-way tie, that Bethune potentially should win it. But somebody said point differential, and I think that is important. So I'm going to look. I'm going to find that out. I'm on next coach's corner call. I'm going to find that out and have an answer. I'm pretty sure Jackson State's not going to worry about that, because usually people in the East run the table. And we had the quote-unquote our game of the year, and the game of the year was Jackson State 38-34. So I think that wraps it all up. I really believe that. A couple of more, comments. What do you guys think? Again, you're looking at it again. When you start to talk about what schools, need to get rid of their coaches. People said Southern. People said FAMU. Who else do you think in the SWAC needs to say, hey, you know what? Might need to make a change. What do you guys think? I'm just curious about that. Just real quick score. Grambling homecoming 20-14, third quarter. Texas State. Texas Southern has the ball. Just curious about that. Looking at it. So guys, just before we close out, really appreciate you guys wanted to do the watch party. I knew Scotty was down at Alabama A&M. Shout out to Alabama A&M winning their homecoming. Shout out to Jackson State winning their homecoming. Shout out to Alcorn winning their homecoming and all that. And we'll see, man, next week, I have to have a prayer line for my Rattlers when we play Alcorn, because that's going to be, it's already, you can see in the alumni group, people are not happy at FAMU. Got a couple of people in Southern said, we ain't happy, what's going on and everything like that. Listen, I tell you what, it's coming. It's coming. You know what? It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. Easy said depends on who can buy the contract out. Yeah, well, that's true. Looking at some of the things right here. Southern, so the SWAC can find. Hey, listen. Hey, this is another one. Hamilton does a great job on that coach's call, but he does that coach speak every week. You know what I mean? Well, we wanted to play hard, and we had the guys in the right position, blah, 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 and all that stuff. James, listen, they can, you know what? Or they can get somebody super light-skinned that could be passing, and he can pass for a white man and coach down there at Southern. So he can get away with that too and everything. We heard that has been seeping out, and actually came out at the 220 Club. A player told a fan that he had lost the locker room, which everybody who's listening to the 220 Club was like, whoa. So that is crazy. So yeah. Hey man, listen, I'm gonna say this. There's some coaches out there, and even young coaches, young black coaches. The coach at Langston, Bruce Eugene, like I say, needs to be coaching somewhere, at least as a quarterback coach, and things like that. There's some coaches out there that could change the direction of these schools and stuff. So yeah, but that's definitely happening, bro. Yeah, that umpire contract is about to be renewed, probably. I'm sure. Looking at it, I hate that for, like I said, Coach Coles is a really good guy. I know he wants the best for FAMU, but like I say, the standard is a standard, and nobody has done him wrong. FAMU has given him the money and the access to be great. They gave him a pay raise for some of the coaches. We got more strength and conditioning coaches. Shout out to Angela Suggs on that. So, the facilities, and it's there for FAMU. We all know that, and it's in Florida. So, again, I'm not going to sit up here and, say people are horrible and stuff like that, but your record is what your record is. So I'm going to let your record speak for you. So you can't say nothing about me when I say, look at your record, right? Because I don't know you personally. So I'm not going to talk about you personally, but I can talk about your football record. Your football record for some of the coaches we're talking about is not up to the standard of the Southerns and the Alcorns and the at FAMUs. So winning, then you want nobody will have to worry about Scotty making skits and all that stuff. If you win, you got nobody to talk about you. So that's really, really, really important. So, I'm going to bring this up. This to me would be on the level of a chance with A.D. Robinson did with Dion. Because is Teddy Bridgewater really ready to take over a program? But is the upside so great you got to take that chance? That you just see something in him and say, you know what, he's a young guy, he played in the NFL, he could totally relate, he knows offense, he's a quarterback, he probably coach a quarterback. And do you really take that chance? I just think that this is one of those ones that if I'm 80 Suggs, you at least interview. And then if he says something that you feel that has a spark for FAMU, because again, you're going to have coaches that are named coaches going to want their job, that's going to interview. But what I don't want to get is a guy that's just been a guy. I'd rather have a young guy, because if you look at, let's just kind of real quick, and I think Quinn Gray, I think he's put himself into, I think Quinn Gray. But when I'm looking at coaches, to me, and they say what it looks like, I want a guy that looks like Trey Oliver and TC. Guys that, are old enough but young enough. You know what I mean? Where they're old enough where they're not going to play no kid games, but they're young enough to know when the kids are playing games to say, stop playing games. And then they have the respect for their players because they were outstanding players themselves, and they know what it takes to be a champion. So to me, I don't want no old guy. I want a younger guy. I want a guy that understands what Florida A&M football is about. I don't need a FAMU guy. Quinn Gray would be amazing because I think he knows what FAMU football is. But I want a young guy that understands that, hey, you're going to come in here. It's going to be no nonsense. Now, I can sing and dance with you, and I know who NBA Youngboy and all that stuff is too. But when it's time to practice, it's time to practice. That's the thing that, I really would like to see. And, yeah, and that's the thing about, I think that's a stretch, right now. But, again, it's one of those ones, sometimes you got to look outside the box, when you're looking at that. Sometimes you got to look outside the box. I was sacrificing a raccoon and a goat. A family wouldn't get it. What he did with that high school down there, kids went, yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you look at it, see, that's why I think it's all about how he interviews. Does he come in there and understand? Because, again, coaching high school and coaching college is a total different thing. And especially when you never coached college, you've got to say a lot of things right. So he would have to have an amazing interview. He would have to say, listen, if I come here, I've got a bunch of guys ready to come from down here in South Florida that's going to come play at FAMU. I already know who's coming. So that's the thing about it. Yeah, no. Teddy, I don't think, well, maybe he's talking to people in the chat. Yeah. People, listen, man, you got Bethune-Cookman people say they believe, the game got to be played. But yeah, Jack State will be the heavy favorite in that game. We all know that. What does this say? What's pulls now? Now, James, I might have to leave it on this. There is no way that anybody in the West is going to beat Jackson State in the SWAC championship game. It's just not, unless I'm going to say this again, Grambling game with Jacoby Morgan has the worst game of his life, those 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and something like that. And because the problem is nobody in the West has a quarterback that's, again, the guys at Prairie View, they're not great quarterbacks. They're good quarterbacks. They're building, but they're not an Andrew Body, and that's what you're going to kind of need. You're going to need somebody that's going to be able to throw the ball and help score the ball, and I just don't think anybody in the West can do that. No, I don't think anybody's going to do that. Well, guys, listen, it's 9 o'clock. We've been on since 2:30. I really appreciate you guys joining us. Hey, man, this is Mr. Campbell, the Bishop, man. And I'm going to say this once again, man. I love everybody in the HBCU space. And, man, let's tell everybody, just respect everybody, man. We all went to great schools. Every school is great. Every school is number one. And just respect each other, man, and just have a good time, man, because we got enough people out here that don't like us. So don't be another person that don't like somebody, love somebody. Hey, man, appreciate you all, man. And I'll see you guys on the Coaches Corner on Tuesday. We're probably going to have another great person coming on. You saw the quarterbacks. We might have another great quarterback, so you got to check out. So, man, check me out on HBCU Coaches Corner, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.